Mrs. Goodson here, and this is the second video for Biology 1.0 for Level 1 Science, and it's about how do our muscle cells get the energy to move. So in our first video, we learned about muscles and what their job is. The function of muscles is to move our cells. So our muscle cells need energy. So how do our bodies turn food into energy? So food has energy in it. It's got chemical potential energy and it's like a fuel for our bodies. And all parts of our body need energy to work. Need energy. Energy. This energy comes from the food we eat. Our bodies digest the food we eat by mixing it with fluids, acids, and enzymes in the stomach. Then the stomach digests the food. The carbohydrate, sugars, and starches in the food breaks down into another type of sugar called glucose. Okay? And our digestive system's job is to turn our food into a form that we can use in our bodies. So our stomach breaks it down, and then our small intestine and our large intestine over here have very specialized walls where the glucose will pass into our bloodstream, and then the things we don't need will carry on. So that's the job of our digestive system, is to break down our food into a form that we can use. And then that the glucose and the fats and oils and the proteins pass into our bloodstream. And our bloodstream carry the glucose to our cells. The stomach and the small intestine absorb the glucose and then release it into our blood. So this is important. The glucose goes into our blood. And the blood's job is to carry everything around the body. Once in the blood, glucose can be used in our cells immediately for energy or stored to be used later. How do our cells release energy from glucose? Our cells do this via a process called respiration. Respiration is a really important process for all living things because all cells carry out respiration. So respiration is a chemical reaction in cells that releases energy from the chemical bonds in food molecules. Respiration provides energy for the essential processes of life. All living cells must carry out respiration. So that's plants and animals and bacteria and fungi all need to carry out respiration. It can be aerobic respiration, and that's with oxygen. So that's really important that our bodies need oxygen to carry out this process. Or anaerobic respiration is without oxygen or very small amounts. Okay, so there's two chemical reactions going on here. So aerobic respiration is with oxygen. So these are the two ingredients that you need for aerobic respiration. So glucose and oxygen. Okay, so the oxygen comes from the air that we breathe. Our bodies can't store oxygen, so we always need to be bringing it in. Whereas glucose we can store, so we get it from our food. And then under the process of respiration, the products of respiration are carbon dioxide, water, and this all important energy. And if you go on in biology, you'll learn about how this energy is in the form of ATP, but we're not going to worry about that for level 1 science. If our bodies can't get enough oxygen, so if there's not enough oxygen, then it will be anaerobic respiration. And so the glucose, we can still get the energy, some energy out of the glucose, but we don't have the oxygen. So we produce lactic acid and some energy. So if we can't keep up with getting enough oxygen to our cells, then our bodies will carry out anaerobic respiration. Okay, so what's the difference between anaerobic respiration and aerobic respiration? So energy is released in both reactions, but aerobic respiration produces a lot more energy. So aerobic respiration is a lot more efficient. So this is a picture of a body cell, and in the body cell, the mitochondria here, there's one here, there's one here. This part of the cell is where respiration happens, okay? And they're just found in the cytoplasm of the cell. And that's where aerobic respiration happens. And anaerobic respiration just happens in the cytoplasm. So that's like the cytoplasm is like the clear jelly stuff that is in the cell. So anaerobic respiration produces lactic acid. Lactic acid is a waste product, whereas in aerobic respiration, it produces carbon dioxide, which is also a waste product in our body. Water we can use, we can sweat it out, helps us keep cool, which is very useful. The carbon dioxide is a waste and our lactic acid is a waste. So we need to break down the lactic acid from anaerobic respiration and we need to get rid of the carbon dioxide. So how does our body do that? So our body actually, the blood carries the carbon dioxide back to the lungs and we breathe it out. Anaerobic respiration provides fast and intense short bursts of energy, useful in sports such as 100-meter sprints, weightlifting, or throwing events such as the shot put or the discus throw. When lactic acid is produced in the muscles, it stops them working properly and they start to feel like burning. I'm sure you felt this when you've been sprinting and then you have to stop sprinting because your muscles are burning. Um, when there is lots of oxygen getting to the cells, the muscles can keep producing energy via aerobic respiration for a long time. So, if you can just keep doing aerobic respiration, you can run a long way, for example, in a marathon. So, aerobic respiration is what happens when marathon runners just keep going for a long time. But if you want to go really fast, then you sprint and you need a short um, burst of energy, like in sprinting, and then you get this burn, which is the lactic acid in your muscles. Okay, so what was this video cover? It explained where we get our energy from, which is food. We described how food is broken down by a digestive system and we get glucose. You need to be able to write the word equation for aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So go back to that slide and make sure that you know those and explain how muscle cells get energy. Okay, so that's through the process of respiration. And you need to be able to compare and contrast aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So, what things were the same? They both release energy, but aerobic is with oxygen, and anaerobic, with a little AN at the front there, is without oxygen and it produces lactic acid. So, this video has been all about how your food is broken down and the process of respiration.